All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. We are doing one of each project from the January 2026 Paper Pumpkin Kit. I'm Brenda Miller. I'm a demonstrator, Stampin' Up demonstrator in New Jersey. I've got somebody here online with me doing the class with us, and other people may pop in. So if they do, we'll say hello to them. And if you're watching on replay, thank you. And we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and spotlight my desktop. Look at the pretty box. It's just so awesome. I love when they have the pretty boxes. Not that I ever do anything with them, but you certainly could. But it's still just nice when it comes in the mail, and it's nice to have. They make great storage boxes too. So if you should have any reason for storage, this is a great one to save for that purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and take out my kit from the box. Of course, yours is wrapped in that fun red or Poppy Parade wrapping or tissue paper. And I have my samples here, but this is the instructions, which are on the inside of your package at the bottom. Oops, I forgot to take this out before. So back there is also the paper that shows you what's in the stamp set. And we use almost every stamp from this cute little stamp set. It's a nice little Valentine's. It just has Happy Valentine's here. The rest can be used all year round, and it's called Special Delivery. So there's our little case for that. And then we have our kit. So you have a little Poppy Parade spot. So it's a great red to have, a little bit different. I, of course, am going to use my full-size pad because I have one. So that's what you'll see me use. Then you have mini dimensional. So always great to have minis around. We'll use a bunch of those. And then we have tear and tape. Now, tear and tape is used as regular adhesive. It's so much better than the little glue dots that they used to send us. It's a lot easier to manage with this. But I tend to save mine and hoard my tear and tape because, regular adhesive does the trick. So I'm going to be using my Stampin' Seal, and you can use whatever you'd like, but using the tear and tape is also, that's what it was made for. So, okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to make 3 piles of the supplies that are in the kit. So if we open it up, now remember, I've already made one of each of these, so I only have supplies for 2 cards, but for 2 of each of the cards, just so that you realize what's going on. But I'm just going to be using the instructions and following along and separating everything out as we come to it into the different piles. So the 3 piles are going to be card 1, card 2, and card 3, and we're going to make one of each. So the first thing we have is this pre-printed giant stamp, and that goes with card number 2. So pretty. And then you can take your rest and put it aside. Next up is another big stamp. This is empty in the middle, and that goes with card number 1. And then you put that aside. Next, we have 2 sets of envelopes here, and I'm not going to actually use the envelopes. Actually, all 3 sets of envelopes are here. I'm sorry. So 3 different colors of envelopes. And you can use them however you like, but they are designed to go with the different cards based on the designs. But I love how they did this. And this is the front of the envelope, so that regardless of the pattern that's on the envelope, you can write in a space that's white. And so that is really great. And somebody pointed out to me the other night that we have a new stamp set that does something similar. It doesn't make it white, but it's for the front of your envelope that you can outline it, and then that's where you could put your addressee information, and it's a really cool little stamp set. So I'll look that up for you, excuse me, and put it in the comments. I forgot to look at that beforehand, but we're not going to use the envelopes while we're stamping, okay? So I'm just going to put all my envelopes aside. Okay, next up is the pink plaid card base, and that is the base for card number 2. The rest away. Then we have this beautiful set of little stamps, and we're not going to punch these out, okay? So hopefully you haven't already done that. We're going to leave them intact, and they are part of card number 3, and I'm going to show you a fun trick with these that we're going to do that really make this card very easy. Okay, so put aside the rest. Then we have a little white card base. This one was a little tricky figuring out. It's a smaller sized card, and it actually goes with card number 1. And they're showing us something fun and different to do with our card base, and you'll see that in a few minutes. Okay, so I'll put that second one aside. Then we have, am I going too fast, Sheila? Or are you good?
No.
Okay, good, great. Okay, so then we have some die cuts. So we're going to punch these out. We're going to take one whole sheet and punch out what's in there. So we've got this fun gold plaid, and that goes with card number 1. And then we have these 3 pretty flowers, and they're very faint. It's bubble bath, but you can see that, oops, even my camera is having a little trouble focusing in on, there it is. So you can see the little lines on the flowers as well as the gold accents on the centers. So all 3 of these flowers are going to go with card number 2. Okay, so that's that. We can get rid of that. Next up, we have our labels, and you can see there are 4 labels of each size, which is nice because then you have an extra because we only have 3 of each card. The long, thin label goes with card number 3. There, that. Then we have the shorter label that has the strip of pink, and the pink is actually at the bottom. You wouldn't know that until you were making the card, but it is at the bottom, and it goes with card number 1. And then there's the circle, and that circle goes with card number 2. Okay. Next up, we have some, if I'm going too fast, for those of you on replay, you can always pause and catch up and then hit play again. So don't feel like you're not losing anything. This final card base, it goes with card number 3. The rest aside. And then we have some laser cut dies, and we're just going to carefully punch them out. They're really falling out, to be honest. The big flower goes with card number 1, as do these leaves. Now these are, you have to be really careful pulling them out because they do get stuck. They're a little fragile. The stem is a little fragile there, so you're going to get that out of there. And once you do, it's going to go to card number 1. Okay, so it looks like that when you're done. Card number 1. And then these very pretty flowers with the blue. These flowers go with card number 3. All right. So there are a couple of unique tricks with this kit, which I found very entertaining when I was making the samples today. And I'm going to show you what those all are as we go through and hopefully save you from making mistakes that I made when I was doing my samples. Because, there's always something. So, all right, now that we've got our pieces separated, I'm going to turn in my instructions to card number 1. All right, and I just follow along with what they do. Now, there's also a video that's published by Stampin' Up! For every paper pumpkin kit, and you can go to that, and that's a speed action through how to make each of the cards, and that can be very helpful. And then we just take it a little bit slower here, and we actually make it so when you are doing it, you can see how it works. So this is the card that we're going to make. It's the Valentine card. So let's go ahead and we're going to stamp first because there are a few different things to be stamped. There's a little extra stamping on this kit than normal. So we're going to start. We're going to need 2 things that we're going to stamp on. We're stamping on the big postage stamp, the giant postage stamp, and then the little tiny banner that has the pink stripe at the bottom. So that's what we're going to stamp on. And we're going to get our block, and we're going to get our stamp set out. Okay, so let's start with the little postage. And that, I'm going to call this one the postage. So it looks like it's canceled, right? Is that what they call it? It's a canceled postage stamp as opposed to this kind of stamp, and as opposed to a stamp kind of stamp, it is this design. That was a little tricky, huh? And then we're going to ink that up, and that's going to go in the top. If you want to make the card exactly like it is, it goes in the top left corner. So we're going to put it on here, and I'm just copying exactly what they did, and I'm stamping in that top left corner. And this is just creating a fun background. So I'm not cleaning off any of my stamps because I'll do that at the end. We're only using one ink pad, so it's not necessary to clean it every time. So then we're going to take the circle, and the circle has a little heart on the inside. So you want the heart to be right side up. So that's how you know how to place your stamp. And you're going to ink that up, and that's going to go in the bottom right corner. So it balances out, and it'll look like that. We'll hold it up. So that's what we're going for. Okay. Top left and bottom right. Then we have one more stamp to do, and this one, this card is saying Happy Valentine. I think it's interesting that it doesn't have day anywhere, but that's what they went with. It's just Happy Valentine's, and that's okay. I think we all kind of know that it's Happy Valentine's Day. So I'm just putting it in the bottom corner so that when I stamp it, it's just a little easier for me to see and to balance. And I'm just pulling it down and stamping it in the center, trying to make it straight. This one came out much better than my first sample did. And that's all the stamping on this card. So 3 stamps, not hard. Cleaning them up later. And I'm going to close up my ink pad. All right. So Sheila, my lone student, good?
Good.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, so now we're going to assemble the card. This is the one that is a little bit different. So if you take the card base, and as I mentioned, it is a little bit smaller. So we're going to fold it in half, give it a really good crease. And let me just show you what it's going to end up doing. The giant postage stamp is going to go on the front of the card. But look, see how it sticks out over the edges of the card. So it makes it, let me get out the sample so that you can see, it's just an interesting way to make the card look a little bit different. So it expands, and it's not so much that it, the card isn't so much smaller that it really takes away from the card or make it too unbalanced. It still stands up nicely. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to be taking the front of the card, and this is how I did it. I'm putting my adhesive on the card front. I'm just using 2 lines of my adhesive, and I want to make sure that I'm putting it on the right way. So I'm going to take my piece, and I know that this is the card front. Okay, I'm putting it face down. This is the top, this is the bottom, and I'm going to put this on. Well, this is what I'm really going to do. I'm going to hold it up like this to the card and then put it down so that I have everything lined up, and then actually do the attaching upside down. But in order to make sure that I've got everything going the right way, I put them together in the air. Okay, and so that's how it ends up. Hopefully that makes sense. It's harder to explain than it is to show how to do, right? To put into words. So pretty quick and easy, but it comes out, and it's just, just something a little bit different, which is always nice. All right. So once we've got that, we are going to take that beautiful gold piece, and it's going to be part of our background. So we're going to put this on just with regular adhesive. So again, you can use your tear and tape for this. or like I'm doing, I'm just using my Stampin' Seal, and it goes smack in the middle. So it's overlapping that top one, just getting it right in the center, and we have it. It looks like that. So again, it opens up like that, and then this is the card front. And then it's just a matter of adhering our little elements, so, or big elements in this case. So this is actually going to go on first. These are the leaves in the background, and we are going to use dimensionals on everything here. So every little piece of this is going to get one of those little mini dimensionals. And when I say every little piece, I'm talking about all the leaves and the buds. Okay, so anything thick enough to hold a dimensional is getting a dimensional. So you can see I'm just popping them on, nice and easy. And then I'll take off the backing. And even on this little one, see how it fits? If you feel like it's too close to the edge, you can cut it, but it doesn't need it, I don't think, if you get it on there just right. And we're just going to peel off all the backings. So there are 8 of them, if I recall correctly. And when we used them this morning, when I used them this morning, we didn't use them. I tend to get ready for this class the day of or the day before so that I remember all the little tricks that I go through to get it done. When we put this on, we're aiming to put the bottom stem over right near the heart or over the heart, and it on a diagonal across the card. So it looks like that. Just make sure it doesn't hang off too far off any of the ends of the card. This is basically in line with the edge here. It's so inky already, unbelievable. And then that
sorry, I'm still pulling the backs off of my.
I know there's so many of them, but it does make a difference for this one so that they don't. Hopefully, they won't catch when you try to put them in and out of the envelope. So it's good to have them all adhered. Usually, I don't use so many dimensionals, but this one I did. I used it on all of them. So then this leaves a nice space that we can put our beautiful flower. I don't know if it's a rose or what it's exactly supposed to be, but I'm just going to use 2. I don't go crazy with my dimensionals. Actually, when I made my original card, when I did it this morning, I just used my regular dimensionals, but I actually used up all my entire set. So I'm using the ones that came in the kit today. So that goes on there, and you can put that any which way or as high or as low as you want. And then the last thing is the Happy Valentines. Now for this, we're going to do my little trick, which is, I hate making, they want us to put dimensionals on, but I hate when it sits up yet another layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take at least one of those mini dimensionals, and I'm putting it right in between this stem and this leaf, so that when I want to put this on the card, I'm just using the one. I don't feel like I need anything more than that. And I'm going to just press it so that it adheres. If you wanted to, you could put another one over here. It's easier to do that one because you can just peel it back. But this way it's not making yet another level of this card. So everything is on 2 levels. It's either flat or it's popped up just the one time. And that's all there is to this card.
Very pretty.
Yeah, so a little bit different. I love how they did this, and that's something I think I'm going to try in a class sometime soon. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Let's move on to card number 2. Quick and easy today. All right, so here are the instructions for card number 2, and I'm just going to follow along with them and hopefully share some tips on this card as well. So we're going to take our card base, and we're actually stamping on the card base. So when I stamp on the card base, I usually like to make sure, I don't really want to do it when it's folded, but I want to make sure that I can see the crease. So I've folded it, given it a nice score, and then I've opened it up again. But what that does is set you up for a little bit of risk. And because we're going to be stamping in the top right corner and the bottom left corner, and this is a horizontal card, okay? So we're going to start with the airmail. And that little stamp is right here, and I'm going to show it to you. It says airmail, and it has the little lines underneath it. And when you go to stamp up here, you want to be really careful so that you're not catching any edges. So you can see I even have a little bit of red up here, and my wipes are across the room, so I'm using my finger. I'm just wiping it off to make sure that I don't have any ink on there. And I'm going to stamp this right at the top. Tap, tap, tap. And right at the top, I'm going to put that. And I'm going to be careful not to rock it because I don't want to get any ink back here in case I've gotten any on my block, which I didn't, but I could have. Okay. And then we're going to stamp that same stamp in the bottom left corner. And one thing I want to do here is put a piece of paper underneath because I'm probably going to go off the edge a little bit. So I'm just going to stamp it not all the way at the edge because we're going to put the little hearts underneath it. But you can see the stamp did go off the edge just a little bit. And up here, it's not off the edge. And mine's just a little bit crooked there too. This is where I should be wearing my glasses. I'm going to put on my glasses. Better late than never. There we go. So again, that's the airmail stamp, once in the top right and once in the bottom left. And once you have that, we're going to switch out to these little hearts. And I have to tell you, I'm saving these little hearts because I could see me using this little stamp all the time. I think it would look great, like right where you sign your name on a card. It could go on the back of a card. It's just a little strip of, let's see, eight little hearts. So again, though, we want to be really careful when we're stamping. And we're just putting these underneath, maybe a little bit off center of what we just stamped. So up here, I'm going to take it off the edge. And again, I'm being careful not to get any ink anywhere else. So let me show you where I did that. You can see that's up there. It's a little crooked again. Oh, well, that's me, just a little bit crooked. And then at the bottom, we're going to do the same thing, except push them over a little bit the other way. So there we go. We've got some airmail and hearts up there, and airmail and hearts down here. Super cute. Okay. Then finally, we do have to stamp a little sentiment, and the sentiment for this one is going to go on that circle. So you can see the circle has some lines. We're going to be stamping in between the lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's pretty forgiving. And I'm putting this one in the middle of the block so that I can stamp it. And probably shouldn't stamp right on my project. I'm going to just try to get it in the middle here. And I'm trying to line it up that love pretty much just fits in the middle of that circle. Not bad. This one definitely came out better than my first attempt as well.
I really like these stamps in
right?
the set.
They're cute, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Useful, too, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got all our stamping done. So that's all we have to do on there. So now it's a matter of assembly. So we're going to fold that card again. Try not to get any ink anywhere it's not supposed to be. And then we're going to take that beautiful pre-printed giant stamp, and that's going to go flat onto the card, and it's going to overlap some of those hearts and that airmail, and you're going to use your tape tear and tape. Oh gosh, drew a blank on that one. Or your regular adhesive, like your Stampin' Up, and that's what I'm using. And the pink flower in the center is going up. That's how you know which way is up. Oh, I guess if it was the other way, it wouldn't matter. Nobody would know. But that's how they show it. So that's what it looks like. And then we're going to do a fun technique, which is just taking the flowers and we're going to be putting them, overlaying the exact images. So these are the same flowers. And I did find them a little bit hard to see, to line them up perfectly, but they do line up perfectly. It's just that it's white on vanilla here, so it's harder to see exactly where it goes. So what my little trick for this was to, there's a little point over here, and that's where I think the pointy one goes. So see how this little point on this flower is there? It's pointing towards that pink flower in the center. So I'm going to I just use one dimensional for these. Again, I feel like that's enough, but feel free to use a couple. They recommend 2 or 3 depending upon the flower. But again, you're going to point that petal, and then when you lay it down, it's overlaying the flower exactly. And now it has some of that gold accent in the center, and it gives that 3D effect. Well, it is 3D, right? Because it's popping up. Then we're going to take the second largest one. I'm having trouble picking things up today. And we're going to put a dimensional in the back of that. And we're going to line this one up with its match, which is over here. And again, there is a pointy flower, and that pointy flower is over here. So it's pointing in that direction. And then when you lay it down, actually, there it is. See, I had it off. And I'm not sure if that one is exact, but it's close. And then finally, the little one, we're going to lay that down as well. Now for this little one, make sure you're just putting one dimensional in the center on this one, because what we want to do is we're going to be sliding the circle just a little bit underneath it. So we could have put the circle down first, but I love these flowers, so I wanted to get them on. So I don't have patience. But the sentiment is also going on with a dimensional or 2. And that's going to slide under just a little bit. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot one stamp. Before you put our circle on, we have to put a circle with love. I'm sorry about that. I don't know how I missed that. So we're going to use that circle again that has the heart. Wow. I just totally missed that. And we're going to just ink it up. And it's going to be okay, because we're just going to stamp it. We're going to stamp it just a little bit below that flower if you've already got that flower on. If you haven't, you could put it, next time you do it, you might want to put it up a little further so it is under that flower a little bit, but because that's how they showed it, but I think it's fine just this way as well. I'm sorry about that. I missed it. Ooh. Now we're going to slide it under so that you can see. I'm going to push it up a little bit. You can see some of that heart, and it all just sort of kind of like a little collage of flowers and loves and hearts. And that's all there is to this card. So no extra little embellishments or anything, but we do have those gold accents. And you notice that there are 3 on here. So that odd number on the previous card, it was just the background. So 1, that's an odd number, right? We get that fun look and a lot of great balance. We've got the balance in the 2 corners. In this case, it's just 2, so that we can balance that. And that's it for that card. So,
I like it very much.
I do too. I do too. Okay, so we're ready for card number 3. Always lovely to get through these so quickly. I'm going to check something over here. I've done so many different things that okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, final card. We're going to take our base and we're going to fold it so that it's ready for us. And we're going to do a little stamping. And remember, we did not separate out these stamps yet, okay? So we're going to stamp right onto this square. And this one just gets stamped with that postage stamp. So the one that looks like a canceled postage. So that goes on. And again, it's kind of like a little collage-y look. That's on there like that. And we are also going to stamp our words. This is just for you. So we'll get that on here. Peel this off. That is going to go on the little banner. Do that right here, just for you. Looks like that. And the last thing we're going to stamp is that circle with the heart in the center again, that I forgot the last time, but I'm remembering it this time. So this has been on every card. So that little heart, love. And this one, we are going to stamp over the top between these two flowers, so in the corner. And by doing it this way, before we separate everything, you're going to be able to see it a little bit better and get it better lined up. So that's what it looks like. So the 3 things that we stamped again were this postage right here on that banner, on that rectangle. We have this circle in the corner with love, and then the just for you on our strip. Okay.
Now, if I had been doing this by myself, I would probably have separated the stamps, and then I would not have gotten that effect with the stamps.
Well, that is exactly what I did this morning. I had separated them out because I wasn't thinking, I wasn't paying attention to the directions. I didn't understand the directions is really what happened. But this is what we're going to do. We are going to take this, we're turning it over, and we are going to put a whole bunch of dimensionals on the back of each of the separate stamps. We're going to then adhere it to the card and then remove the backing. Isn't that clever?
Yes, very clever.
Yeah. So I was very impressed by this, I have to say, because again, something I would never have thought to do. I didn't think to do it. And I was sitting here, lining everything back up again, trying to figure out which little stamp went where. When all I had to do is this, which is putting on, you can see that I'm putting at least one on each of the different boxes. The boxes are all different shapes. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not putting any onto the filler in the middle, right? Because we're going to poke them all out. So I'm going to remove the backings on all of these, and there's a whole bunch, so it's going to take a minute to get those off. And I do just like using my fingernails. Some people will use the take your pick tool to help them get them off. When I put them down, I automatically squish my thumbnail into the center. That's how I always make sure that they're ready to go. But you can see now they all don't have their backings, I can tell. And once you're ready, you're going to add it to the card front. Now, it's going to go all the way to the top edge because when we peel it off, it's going to come apart. Okay, and it'll be lined up. So then you're going to press it down, and then you're just going to carefully pull this up. It's going to take a minute to do that. So I'm just pushing down on the part that I want to keep and pulling up on the outline. It's a little stuck. Yeah. And you can see very slowly.
Still doing dimensionals.
Are you still doing dimensionals? Okay, take your time.
Yeah, my cards, when I use dimensionals, an earthquake could hit and it wouldn't fall apart.
Yeah, that's a lot of dimensionals. Well,
yeah.
Good news is you've got plenty, so that's good. Yeah, I just, I don't know. I don't feel like my cards are there to last forever, so I'm okay with it. But this is what it ends up looking like. It's perfectly placed. Everything is exactly where it needs to be because we put them all down at the same time. So yeah, so that's how we get that fun effect. Right. Now, of course, you know, there aren't a lot of situations that you're in that it comes like this and that this is a technique that you would want to use, but I thought it was an interesting way to make sure that things are lined up, and in this case, it works out wonderfully. So let me know when you've got that done. In the meanwhile, I'm going to be setting up my...
Yes. Don't wait for me. I'm still
That's okay. Yep. No, because we're not done yet. So we've got more to do. We will do that as soon as you're ready. But we're not in any big rush because I'm sure everybody is doing the same thing.
Right. I forgot about the flower, the blue flower.
Yeah, we still have to do the flower. And let's see, where's my PowerPoint? Publisher. Oh, I know. Silly me. It's right here. So I'm just setting up the PowerPoint presentation that we'll look at in a second with all our fun alternative projects. So while we're waiting, we can easily just put our message, the just for you, at the bottom. There's no overlap on this, which is fine. A lot of times you want overlap, but on this one, we're going to have some other overlap, so with the flower. So I just used 2 dimensionals on this to put at the bottom, just centered in that space that's left. That's the just for you. So when we're ready to add our flower, the one thing you're going to notice is that it is going to stand up yet another layer. So you know how I've been going on and on about how I don't like to do that. Well, this card, you kind of have to do that. And that's okay. Once in a while, if you've got a double or triple layer card, you can do that. Not too lumpy. But we're just putting dimensionals on the back of each of the individual flowers. So 4 dimensionals on the back of this. The rest of it is just kind of too tiny to add anything. But you could also, if you really wanted to, cut down your dimensionals to size and get them where you need them. And then you're just going to put this on diagonally again across the card so that you can just see that little postage in the background. You're going to press, and there is your card. So super pretty.
Very pretty.
A little bit different. And I think I have the postage stamp dies And I think it would be fun to try to recreate this using stamps, and I'm going to give that a shot. So I love that we get inspiration from these kits. So speaking of inspiration, I went out and I took a look at lots of different examples of alternative projects that people did, and I'm going to share that while Sheila's finishing up over there. And let's start our PowerPoint. So we're going to, I could just flip through like this, but I like to do a slideshow because then it's easier to see. All right, so from the beginning, we have Alison Boubier. She created this card. So it's really pretty much the same as the first card, but instead of putting it on a white in the background, she put some pink in the background and then a darker pink. I think this darker pink is like a melon mambo or strawberry slush maybe. It looks very bright, but that's just partially the, the photography for it. But I thought that was, a fun, just little difference there. And she cut around the sending love down here. Number 2, we have two different cards that Jennifer made, and she made them more of a collage, right? And it looks like she used her postage stamp dies to die cut that gold plaid to put in the background here. She used this element here, I guess is one of the stamps from this. She had punched it out. It's the piece that was right here. And she used other pieces to put them together. And she cut apart the flower as well so that she could use it on multiple cards, I'm assuming. This is just one card. Remember, our card has 4 flowers and a bunch of little buds. And this card only has 2. So she separated them out. And then this one over here, same thing. She used this stamp that was in this place. And she used it on here, and it looks kind of like an envelope, but it's actually a card. So a whole collage-y thing going on here. And she mixed and matched from the different cards. Here's another one. I love this idea because all she did was take that card number 1 and cut everything in half. And then she layered it on some pretty paper. This paper actually is from the product of the month. That was the month of December, but it is still available. So if anybody did not get it and places a $75 order, they can grab this this DSP even still. So you can get 2 cards for the price of 1, right? From all those different elements. And this is Jessica. All right, this one I thought, Laura Siki, if you're looking for alternative projects, I highly recommend finding Laura Siki. She does an amazing job. This is just one of many different samples that she made using the kit. And what I loved about this is that, first of all, she used this new embossing folder back here. And that is one that is in the mini catalog, the new mini catalog, and it's just super cute for spring. And then she used the negative of all those little banners. And I thought, you know what? I never would have thought of doing that. So I think that that's kind of a cool look, the way that she did that. So that's why I grabbed this one. But she has probably a dozen other fabulous samples. She's very talented. She is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so you can look her up on Facebook, Laura Siki. This one is Lynn Shepard, and she also made a whole different collage. She just punched out those little stamps and she rearranged them differently. So it just goes to show you can do lots of different things with this. And she found a stamp, Knowing You Brings Joy to My Heart. That's from a different stamp set. Just something fun. This one is a scrapbook page, which I thought was beautiful. And really, she just took the card and she added it to the scrapbook page. She added her photos, and then she took the leaves, I should say, from card number 1 and the flowers from card number 2. And she added them here. And I think that this came out beautiful. And look, she even used the little hearts down here as a little accent. So loved, loved, loved this page that she made. All right, so this is another version of that little collage kind of look, and she stuck with the two different colors instead of adding. We have lots of different colors going on ours. She just stuck with the blues and the greens, and I thought that was very striking, the way that it came out, the way that she picked and chose what she was going to use on the card. So very cool.
Very pretty.
And then these are Robin's creations. So Robin Carter is also another person who does a lot of different alternative projects every month, and I thought these came out very pretty. This background die behind the gold plaid is actually one of the new dies that's available. It is part of the beautiful, I actually have it right here. I'm going to tell you the right name. It's called Beautifully Celebrated, and it has a whole bunch of different dies that layer. So you can see she used it here. She made 3 different layers, so then they nest. So I think that worked out beautifully for this. Next up, Shelly Grimes, and she took that card number 3 and made it completely different. She added some blue plaid. I love this embossing, the way that she did that. I'm not sure this embossing folder is still available, but it does give a nice look, in my opinion. And then last one, this is Wani Spence. I hadn't seen her work before, but look at this. What an array of pretty cards she made with just what was in the kit. So I think she did a remarkable job. So, well, she added a butterfly here, but for the most part, it's just what's in the kit in this collection. So I thought it was pretty impressive. Anyway, so that's it.
Yes, great ideas.
Yeah, so there's so many fabulous ideas out there that you can look for. You can just go out and search on Google. Look up Paper Pumpkin for the January 2026 kit, and you'll find ideas. So not just mine. And I firmly believe in not reinventing the wheel. People out there are so creative. I wouldn't be able to come up with half as many wonderful ideas. So you can always look at that. But thank you for joining me tonight. And we're here every month on the first Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we make one of each of the projects from a Paper Pumpkin kit. And it makes sure that we are actually using our kits that we're ordering. So hopefully you get a chance to make all of yours. So thank you for joining. And I'll sign off now. Bye-bye.